Why does deciding what's for dinner feel like a bigger fight than deciding where to live? We're back and we're talking today about decisions.
Decisions.
Why is marriage so hard when it involves 1,000 conversations over and over and over again?
And what's the one question that we feel like we're constantly having to make a decision about that gets so annoying?
Yeah.
It is the most annoying question, I think, in a marriage.
Man,
At all.
yeah. I was gonna say only for people with kids, but I think it's probably. I remember answering this question or asking the question and
Yeah.
having to answer it, even as a young married couple with no kids. Here's the question:
What's for dinner? I mean, seriously. It gets so annoying after
Yep.
a while. And when you get older kids too,
Boys,
they just expect
eat,
to know the whole menu. And sometimes life is just it's just busy, let's be honest. And so we don't know the whole menu.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is what it is. I don't know. Sometimes it's fend for yourself night.
Yeah, I love fend for yourself night.
Yeah.
It causes the children to feel like they have a little sense of ownership.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? You go and find something in there and make it for yourself.
That's right.
You don't
That's
get.
right.
I mean, why do they think we are their personal chefs? They think that. They think that.
I don't know. But it is a very annoying
Very
question.
annoying, especially when you have boys. Two teenage boys in the house. My goodness, the only thing they want to know is this true or is it not true? It don't matter what we're doing. Don't matter what we're doing. Our two boys will only text us or call us
Yes.
if they're hungry.
That's right.
That's it.
Other than that, we don't really hear
Not
from them.
I miss you. Not I love you.
Yeah.
Not I want to go somewhere. No, just
It's what are we eating?
what are we going to eat? What's
Yep.
for dinner?
Yes.
And my mom had 4 boys. I wonder if that's what she heard all the time.
Yeah.
What are we going to eat?
I'm sure she did.
So let's talk about that decision because I think that's the heart of today's
Yeah.
episode. This is episode number 6, Late Night Conversations. Man, we're moving along.
We're moving along.
We're 6 episodes in 2026.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yes, me too.
I like just hanging out with you. So
too.
we're talking about these decisions. And here's the thing. It seems like the small decisions, just the everyday decisions
Yeah.
are really what wears on you the most.
Yes. I would agree. I mean, it gets a little exhausting when you're constantly having to feel like you're navigating through all those small, minute decisions every single day. And I think that sometimes, you can become easily irritated with one another
Yep.
because maybe you feel like after a while, okay, you should know me by now. You should know that this is the way I'm going to respond, after hearing the question or whatever. But I think for the most part, it's just all the little nitpicky things. But what are some things that you think that some decisions that can be very hard in a marriage just over time with having to make small decisions, like the big topics that make that you have to make small decisions over?
Well, it probably ties into the what's for dinner question because what's for dinner is always related to a financial decision. So I think that in relationships, in marriages,
Yeah.
the financial aspect is probably one of the biggest stressors, but it's not always, like we said, where we're going to live. It's not always these big decisions. It's the everyday grind, small decisions, because there's a little saying about, money and it small purchases, nickel and diming you.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily your house because you need a house, and unless you made a bad decision on your house and you can't afford it. It's these small decisions over and over and over again. I mean, and so one of the first things you might ask yourself, for example, in our context, is it's Sunday. We've came to church. Our whole family is at our church. Everyone's serving. Everyone's being a part of it.
Yeah.
And the classic thing after service on Sunday is, where are we going to eat?
Yes. That's also exhausting, that question after Sunday too.
But the question is, I mean,
But it could be related. The result is, well, what
do we
is
have the
going
money
to
for?
fit our budget for?
Yep.
Like what's going to fit best for our budget? And, sometimes I can see where that could create some conflict in a marriage because you get to the point where you might get exhausted of not having enough all the time.
Yep.
And you may feel like, well, we eat at home all the time. We go get groceries and we cook all the time. Why can't we just go out this one time? Well, you have to know where you are in your finances and in your budget, and you have to just be okay with where you're at.
And so in our context, everyone's context is different, but there's still a decision being made that can be irritating. It can kind of just have frustration because it's over and over again.
Yeah.
You have to eat. And so with what we're talking about here, what are we going to eat on Sunday after church? So for me, I'm thinking, well, what type of financial position are we in currently? Do we have the extra money to go out to eat? Because, there's 5 of us in the home, and if we invite our oldest and our grandson, then that's 7 of us. That's a big budget. That's a big bill. Even if you go to the fast food restaurant.
And I'm thinking, I really don't feel like cooking again. And
And
that's the truth. That's the truth.
But here's another. Okay, small decisions that become frustrating.
Yeah.
Did you set any meat out?
Oh yeah, that's
We
one.
don't know. Well, now, I mean, it's like,
and it never
you
fails.
gotta buy
when we're
enough
in the
meat.
car. We're like, oh,
we didn't set any meat out.
we didn't set any meat out.
Well, who was supposed to set the meat out?
Yes, who is? Yes,
Who's in charge of the dinner menu? Who's
right.
And I think the food and the money, because it's a part of everyday life, can become a source of frustration in a marriage because it's like, well, whose responsibility is it? And,
Right.
And
who's doing what?
Who's doing what? And then if you cook at home, right? If you decide to cook at home, which cooking at home we've learned is fun, right? And we enjoy it when we get to cook together if we're not so busy.
And you do save money. I mean, let's be honest. In today's economy, you do save money, especially when you have a lot of mouths to feed like we do. So, I mean, you just have to know where you're at. And I think also being well prepared would help. Getting a menu together, on Sundays, maybe do your meal plan for the week if that is what fits you and your household.
I got another decision. With all that. Who's doing the dishes? If you decide to cook at home, who's doing the
cooking?
dishes?
Who's cleaning?
I got another decision.
Yeah.
These just
because you could get upset or the wife could get upset, vice versa, whoever it is.
I cooked. Who's going to clean?
Exactly. And it's like, well, I would love to just get on the couch and just relax after dinner, but I've got a pile of dishes that need to be done.
Yep.
And so you can start to see where those small things could build into big frustrations in a marriage. And so just knowing that, hey, if he cooks, I clean. Or if I cook, then he cleans. Yeah. Or if I don't mind doing both, which most of the time I don't, and I do, I'm cooking and cleaning, so
but I'll help.
Absolutely. You always get in there and you always help. And I'm not worried about it. But
you do usually do all the.
Yeah. But especially like when you're first married, that could be that could be a huge frustration.
Yeah.
Just because you're learning how to work together, and one spouse could feel like they're doing more work in the marriage than the other spouse. And also this leads me to another question about parenting and about who is making the decisions most of the time about the kids. And so for us, I stayed home with the kids. And so I loved having the luxury of being able to stay home and raise my babies. But at the same time, there was a level of frustration sometimes that could set in when I felt like there were some decisions that were being made that had to do with the kids, and maybe I felt like they were always coming to me, asking me the questions. Always just like coming to me. Well, after a while, that could feel even exhausting, trying to answer all the questions. So sometimes we would pull this card of like, well, go ask your dad.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just easier to deflect those questions off on him because I knew that he wasn't home
You're
as
answering
much.
those questions all day long.
Yes.
And so the kids by nature are coming to you to ask you the question to get the response.
Yes.
And, and it's one of those weird dynamics that you have to learn to work out.
That's right.
Because it's not right for the mom or for one spouse to make all those decisions, because then that spouse can become, in the kids' eyes, one of our children started calling you the fun killer.
I'm the fun killer. Yes, I am.
The fun killer.
Yep.
Because when you got young kids,
Yeah.
they're asking to do things that we know we're not going to let them do. And so next thing you know, well, you're just the fun killer. The reality is, I would have answered the question the same way.
Right.
But they're used to coming to you. And so I remember this conversation, and we'll see if you caught this. I don't know if we had this conversation, because I remember a couple years ago, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, we had this conversation about how you always have to make these decisions with the kids. And granted, I worked away from the house. Now I'm in the house a whole lot more. And so I try to help more. I don't know that I get it perfect, but I try. It's just because it's a different routine. But I remember when I was signing the kids up to the new school district, when I was enrolling them, I would usually put their mom's number and email address for the primary contact.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know I did this.
But
Because of this conversation, I put my name and number as the primary contact, because I realized she's getting every question in the morning, every question during the day, every question when they get home, every question, when they're at school calling with the problem. Now the school's calling if they need something. And so that
and when you have 4 kids, that can be a little overwhelming.
And that was like a small thing that I decided to do to help just alleviate all of the questions having to be answered by the fun killer. We laugh about it now, but I mean.
And you know what's funny is when the kids used to call me the fun killer, it was usually about something that probably wasn't going to be safe for them to do. So I had said no to that. And so then I was labeled the fun killer. But now when they jokingly say it, I'm just like, hey, you know what? It is what it is, and I don't really care. So I guess I'm just going to be the fun killer because, I just, in my mind, I'm thinking that's not a smart and wise decision. So let's not do that.
There is something that happens here in families that drives a wedge in between spouses, between mom and dad. This is big. When kids know how to ask which parent the right question for the right thing. And
let's call it what it is. It's manipulation.
Kids are good little manipulators.
They know.
And we all were good at it at one time.
Yes. They know what parent is going to say what they want to hear.
And so that's another area where we don't put off the decision to the other spouse, but we tell the child, let me talk to your mom or your dad, versus go ask them or what they say. Or if they do come to us and we know we're the second chance they're trying to have at getting what they want,
You can say, well, what
what
did
did your
your
mom
dad
say?
say?
But you
Because
might need to ask the parent because they might lie and say.
here's the thing, and we'll just sit, we'll get off of this and move
Yeah.
on. But I do want to say, like in a marriage, when it comes to decision making with the children, I do think that it works well when both the parents are on the same page at all times. When it comes to discipline, when it comes
Yep.
to where they're gonna go, and
Who they're going to be with.
who they're
and
gonna
what they're
be
doing.
with, and what they're doing. Yes, because if one parent says something different than the other parent, that can drive a wedge in between the two and really create a huge conflict between the two spouses. And see, the kids really don't see that could be the outcome between the two spouses.
Right.
They just know they're getting their way.
Right. They just want their way. They're not trying
Yeah.
to create the issue.
Right.
It becomes the issue.
Yes.
It's not necessarily their fault. They're
And
just trying
so
to get what
when
they
we're
want.
talking about small decisions over and over and over again, well, if we're constantly on two separate pages saying with this issue, that could get exhausting
Right.
over time from either of the spouses. And so just knowing that, hey, this is my stance on this. If this ever becomes a question, this is how I feel about this. And honestly, these are conversations that probably need to be had before you get married, but you really won't get to live in it until you are faced with
go
it when
time.
you have kids. But that's what I would say too, just to kind of help with that, is make sure that no matter what, you're on the same page when it comes to the kids, because
That's a big one.
yeah,
Yeah, it just is.
yeah, because you don't want to cause a wedge. You're not trying to drive a wedge in between each other.
Let's move on from there.
Yeah.
Here's another big one. What about when one spouse is invited to go and do something outside of the home with a different group of friends? Maybe the guy is invited, the dad, the husband is invited to go do something with his friends, or the wife is invited to go for a ladies' night, or whatever it is. What about those types of decisions? Like, how should we be making those decisions? Because I've seen it done two different ways. And unfortunately, one of the ways that a lot of people choose to do that is, I'm my own person. These are my friends. This is me time.
Yeah.
And I deserve this. And so what is the way we should actually be making those decisions? Because they seem harmless.
Yeah.
But there's a weight maybe that the other spouse is carrying based on our decision.
I do think that, first of all, that's scary.
Wow, that was scary. I don't know if you heard that.
I do think that we're going to have to edit that.
Go ahead.
I do think that, first of all, with talking about friends, outside the marriage and everything, I think that key friendships are really, really important to have. You want to surround yourself with people who are like-minded.
Like-minded, yeah.
First of all. And I think if you're a married couple, that it would be best for you to surround yourself with other married couples.
Yep.
And my personal stance on that is just, I get it, girls' night or whatever, girls' weekend, you feel like you need to take a break or whatever. For me, I just feel that if I need that kind of time alone, then I would much rather spend that time alone with my husband, who is my best friend. But then if I need, to go out for coffee or to call a friend and just, hang out for a while, that's totally fine. Like, I feel like that's A-okay, but
But how's that decision need to be made? Because a lot of
with
people,
each other.
that's where we're getting to.
Yeah.
I
Like,
think the frustration becomes here's what I've seen, and earlier on, this was something that you have to kind of work on because there's an impulse to say, oh yeah, I mean, because we're not talking about things that are bad. We're talking about just going and do something. But the reality is, what happens is one of the spouses ends up being the one always going to do something, and the other spouse is stuck at home or with the kids. And it's not fair to the other spouse when you are answering all these questions and making all these decisions by yourself. And so the proper response is, hey, Caleb, you want to hang out this weekend? I would probably like to. I would love to. Let me get with my wife and find out what we've got going on
yeah,
and make sure that's going to be okay.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
that leaves both spouses being able to have a positive conversation about that. And because, I mean, just in my experience, what I've seen is I've seen it really one-sided. One spouse is always getting to go and do stuff while the other spouse is stuck. And it's usually when there's kids involved. And the other spouse is stuck at home with the kids. And it's unfair and it's usually probably the guy, just because that's kind of like what we generally feel like should happen. Mom should take care of the kids and dad should do what he wants. But that's unfair
Yeah.
to
Totally.
the mom,
Yeah.
especially a stay-home mom, which that's what you were.
Yeah.
And so you got to
And so from a stay-home mom's perspective, you're already feeling a little lonely anyways. I mean, let's be honest. It can get a little lonely. I was blessed to have, some other moms that were in the same season of life as I was. So that
was good.
helped.
Yeah.
That helped out a lot. We got together a lot with our kids, but then, at the same time, you just kind of sense this loneliness, and if if your spouse is constantly just saying, "Okay, well, I'm going to hang out with so and so," I mean, and you're at home with the kids. Well, you already are at home with the kids 24/7. Well, now that's just creating more loneliness,
Right.
So, which can drive a wedge in a marriage. And so
And this podcast is all about bringing couples
together.
We want your marriage to thrive. We
That's
want it to
right.
come alive. We want you to be more in love today than you were yesterday and the day that you first met. We don't want your love to fade. We want your love to grow. That's why we do this.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, I can say this for us, and this is not boastful, it's not prideful, it's not arrogant. We have learned to grow together.
That's right.
And I mean, we're just as madly in love today as we were when we first got together. But it's these decisions that we've had to learn how to make them properly, because these little decisions they add up, because they're coming at you every day.
That's right.
You're not having to buy a house every day.
Yeah.
That's a big decision. And although that's an important decision, we're talking about the ones that just really begin to get frustrating,
Get
that
underneath
can
your
drive a
skin.
wedge, that can cause a friction between the two.
And you could feel like, I'm so tired of dealing with this or answering the same question over and over again. But I do feel like just having conversations around the main things: finances, kids, the runnings of the home, who's going to pay bills, who's going to be responsible for the bills, who's going to be responsible for,
we
meal planning, who's going to be responsible, all the small decisions that are every day that you have to make every day.
right.
Coming together and really figuring out, who's going to be doing those,
Right.
and understand that, hey, if you're in a season of life where you feel like, okay, I'm sensing that now's probably not a good time to, hang out or whatever with my friends. Don't take it as your spouse is trying to be controlling. I don't think that, is the reason why. I think just like, for instance, in a stay-home mom's case, she may have just a little bit of loneliness. And so maybe that's the season that you're in. And if that is, then you have to be able to have these healthy conversations,
Right.
to be able to decide what's best for you and your family. But the point of the matter is you're having these conversations together. You're having them
That's right.
together.
So even in the financial thing, one person might be responsible for it, but it's both of our decision. One person might be responsible more for the kids, getting them where they need to go and doing what they need to, but the decision is both of ours. It's getting on the
right.
same page.
That's right.
And I really think that will help protect the emotional energy of the relationship.
Yep.
You got to protect that emotional energy, because if not, it's going to just drain you. Daily life is going to drain you because there's 100 decisions every single day, small decisions. And by the time you get to the end of the day, you're drained and you're frustrated. And we want you to be on the same page.
Yes, that's right. And I just want to close with this. I just want to read this real quick. Love doesn't fail because of big decisions. It gets worn down by 1,000 tiny ones.
Yep. Word.
And that's the truth. That's really the truth.
Yep.
So working together, becoming one in union with each other.
And
that's what we're supposed to do.
Making sure those small decisions aren't driving a wedge, one at a time.
That's
over
right.
the years.
That's right.
Well, we've come to the end.
Yes.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Episode 6.
Yes.
Man, we're so glad you joined us. If you got something from this, let us know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe so you can get all of the updates the minute they're released, and we will see you again.